Here we're going to use the plan method for a 2-point perspective L block. So here you've got a sheet layout with a few features. You've got your ground line coming across the bottom, and you can see your front view is sitting square on the ground line. If you go up the middle, you have an eye line. So this is your center of vision up here. This is just a point that's been plotted in for you, so you can ignore that for now. Across here, we've got the very, very important horizon line, which everything disappears to. And on the horizon line, you've got two vanishing points. Up here at the back, you've got your picture plane, basically that glass, that window that you're looking through, that the object is sitting behind. So you've got this L block, you're looking top down on this L block. This L block is looking, if I take this lovely, pretty, rusty old sharpener, basically it's sitting at an angle behind that glass plane, behind the picture plane. So if you're looking at it like that, this corner is closest to you. Now, if this object was rotated and it was square like that against the picture plane, that would actually be a 1-point perspective. So the fact that it's flat against the picture plane, 1-point perspective, and you can see one face, and even if it's back, it's still 1-point perspective, but it's square to the picture plane, and you'll have one vanishing point. The fact that it's rotated on the top view, even at any angle, even slightly, means that an edge is going to be closest to you, so it becomes 2-point perspective. Now this is where it gets tricky, and we're not going to go into these kinds of drawings, but if it's rotated on 3 axes and the corner becomes the closest point, so the corner becomes the closest point to you and the picture plane, it's actually a 3-point perspective. So you've got 1 point, 2 point, 3 point. So whichever is closest to you kind of tells you which type of drawing you're about to do. Okay, so let's do this L block. So we've got the classic L block here. This is our eye. So we're looking at it from here. This is our center of vision, okay? So we're looking at it from here. All right, so we're going to be using this, and that's important. I just did that for illustration purposes. I really don't like having those sorts of things on my sheet. I like it clean. It's a technical drawing. Okay, so, but this point here is our eye. It's where we're perceiving our view from. So especially if you close one eye, you get that very clear visual ray out from this point. All right, so now you can see here, we can take across and downs a few things that have already been given. So we've got this front view to the side here, and we've got this point here, which is going to sit right there on our ground line. So we're going to construct this off the ground line, and because it's touching the picture plane, we can take we can start there. It makes it easier. We don't have to try and project it down to the picture plane at all and do all that special stuff. We can just start there. So the height of this is going to come across from this side view. So from there, it's going to come across. Okay, so this essentially is the height, and the first step, of course, is boxing the L shape in. This is the height of this L block that we're going to do. So it's going to be from there to there. All right, I'll just draw that line in just so for clarity's sake. Okay. Make sure it's on the line. Okay, so that is my height. Now, these, of course, can go back to my vanishing point. So let's just take these back to the vanishing point. Just get my T-square out of the road so my set square sits nice and flat. Right in the middle. So lining this up with the top and the bottom of that line. So from there back to my vanishing point I want to go. So there, like that. And on the other side I want to take this back to the vanishing point as well. From there through to there. Okay, so back to the vanishing point. All right, now we're going to do the same at the top. So from the top, I'm going to take this back to our vanishing point. Okay, I'm still doing construction line weight, so it should be lighter than I'm drawing, just so it's easy to rub out. Again, from there, we're going to go back to the other vanishing point, making sure you line it up as accurately as possible. So the little white spot in the middle of that mark. Okay, so I have taken this, the height of this, back to my two vanishing points. At this time, I don't know the distance back, okay? And I have to figure that out. Now, because these don't sit on the picture plane, there's going to be a little, what we call foreshortening. So it's like if you look at this pencil square, it just looks its true length. But if you start to incline it, there it starts to look from your perspective shorter. Even though it's not, it's just a perspective thing. So you can see that foreshortening of the object because all of these elements are going further away from your, your view. Okay, so that's what's happening here. So because these are receding away from your point of view, we actually have to do something a little bit tricky. So we have to find out, and you know what I like to do at this point is I like to label everything. So let's label this A, B, C, D. And we might just go one more E. We'll just get one here because we need to know that point at some point in time. Okay, we could also do this one if you want, but it doesn't really matter because if we get E, I'll just put F. Okay. Okay, so we've got our label here. Now this, since we're looking at the top view, this is actually A. So we are looking at A right there. That's A. Now somewhere back along this line we've got B. So somewhere here is B. But where? Somewhere back here, I think I've accidentally marked it. Somewhere back here is D. But where? Okay, so this is what we've got to find out, is where those points are. So I'm just going to clean it up. You don't need to do that. So we've got a clear drawing. Okay, so what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to find B. Along this line is B. So if I line B up with my eye, so I'm going to line that up with my eye right there. So there to there. I'm going to drop that down to the picture plane. Okay, if I drop that down to the picture plane, essentially I take my compass and my rule, sorry, not my compass, my set square, my T-square and set square, and I draw a line directly down from the picture plane now, where that hit the picture plane. That now is point B. We have found it. And yes, it does look short, doesn't it? That's the principle of foreshortening. And we can do the same thing for D. So this face AD is out here somewhere. So D is back here somewhere, and we're going to find it. So if we line D up with our eye right there, and again drop it down to the picture plane, and just stop. Okay, and you need to see where it hits the picture plane because that's important. And then we take our T-square and we set our set square, and we drop that down, straight down into our shape, we have D. Okay, so at this point, we have those faces. We have those faces, which is great. So we're starting to box in our shape. Now I'm going to just finish boxing in this. So we're going to take D back to our vanishing point. So right there, D. I'm going to take that back to the vanishing point over here. And I'll just do it partially because there's plenty I need to rub it out. So that went back to the vanishing point, and I'm going to take B. That is also going to go back to the vanishing point. So line my ruler up with B, back to the vanishing point. Okay, so now we have boxed in our shape, but this is an L shape. It's not a full cube or rectangular prism or whatever you want to call it. It is an L. So we're going to have an L here somewhere. Now here, because we've got this height here on the side, we can take this point across and mark it. Okay, because this is sitting flat on the ground line, we can actually just move that across, and that is the bottom of the L. Okay, which is nice. So I'm going to line that up. I'm going to take that point back a little bit. So, and I'm going to take it also back to the vanishing point here. So from there, back to the vanishing point. Okay. Now I have this back face too, which is basically where is point F? Between A and B is point F. Okay, I could have done it back here as well. I could have found E between these 2 points, because back here I found C now. All right, so let's find where F is, and so we'll know where that L comes down. So same thing, line F up, because it's not sitting on the picture plane, we have to find out where it hits the picture plane. So line it up with our I, drop it down to the picture plane, okay? And then at this point, use our T-square and our set square and bring that straight down. That is the L shape. You can see, I'll just clean this up a little. There is your L shape. So there's your L shape, but we've got to finish boxing it in, and that's really important because we only have a flat face. We don't have a full shape yet. So let's take this point on the top across. So across to our vanishing point. Take this point, the inside of the L, back to the vanishing point. Just take that. We don't know how far back it goes yet because we need a few other lines. We need this one here, back to the vanishing point. Here, so it stops there. And then we should, T-square and set square, if we've been careful and accurate, have 2 points in line with each other to get this edge of the L. There it is. So there is our L shape in 2-point perspective. Well done.